Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 2nd February of 2018. My name is Carlos and I will be your host for this evening. Today we got 3 stories for you guys. I think they're all fairly interesting. We're going to start with a sentence that has happened recently regarding a Slenderman inspired stabbing from back in 2014. Secondly, we're going to talk about a Counter-Strike weapon skin that is sold for $60,000. Actually, for $61,000. And last of all, funny enough, we're going to talk about the fact that EA is the 5th most hated company in the whole freaking world. But let's start with heavy news today. Let's start with the fact that a person who has been part of a Slenderman inspired stabbing incident that happened in 2014, more specifically on May 31st, 2014, has been sentenced. He has been sentenced to 40 years in a mental institution because he has been found not guilty because of the reason that he is fucking insane. And yeah, obviously. This was Morgan Gazer, who at the time has been 15 years old. And 15-year-olds who stab somebody to death, well, obviously, they are probably normal. He has been diagnosed with schizophrenia a few months after the attack actually happened. Has been sentenced to 40 years in a mental institution. Which is actually not completely true. He has been sentenced to a minimal of 3 years in the institution. Then he can, if he has progressed with his mental health to a better state, then he can have a chance to being discharged back into community. But even if that happens, he will still have to be watched until he is 37 years old. That's a long time, man. That's 18 years at the very least, 20 years, I guess. If you don't know what the case actually was, Mr. Gazer and his friend, which is named Anissa Wire, they lured a classmate into a park in Waukesha, Wisconsin, where they stabbed her 19 times. Yeah, according to them, they wanted to impress Slenderman, who is a very famous copy-pasta character who has been portrayed in some movies and some really crivey video games that have been popular just because of the meme factor, I guess I'd call it. Luckily, the victim actually survived being stabbed 19 fucking times, which is insane. And yeah, it is a good thing that he's going to go to a mental institution. And I gotta say, schizophrenia is one of the most commonly misjudged mental illnesses in the world. And people like these are actually the reason for why it is misjudged. I actually recently experienced, there was a sort of a booth where you came in, you were given headphones, some VR glasses, and you would go through this little, it wasn't a game, it was just like an experience that allowed you to see what it feels like, sort of, to be a person with schizophrenia. And I gotta say, it was pretty freaking intense. And that sort of schizophrenia was non-violent at all. And if you have voices telling you that, oh, you should kill them, stab them, kill them, talking to you 24/7, man, you gotta be one hell of a strong person to actually not do it. And if that's happening to you when you're in puberty, you're not even fully developed as a person, man, there's just no surprise that this actually happened. It's just sad that he sadly wasn't diagnosed earlier, and then this could have been prevented, but it happened and clearly he needs some help. I don't think we should view this as a punishment, because it really isn't. He was found not guilty. This is a treatment for him. This is something to help him work within the parameters. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. You know, within the bounds of a normal society. And I don't think people realize it, but people like this, they actually want to work within society. But their mental condition is just so severe that they cannot. And getting them help is the only real thing we can do. So don't be jerks to him. Actually, be glad that he is getting the help he needs. And for once, try to be empathetic, as that is essentially a very important thing in human beings. Okay, let's move on to our second piece of news today. So, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, one of the biggest esports titles there is, with loot boxes in it. But I think those loot boxes are pretty fair, as they're just skins. Though I would obviously prefer if you could just buy the skins, because my disdain to loot boxes has been told out many times. But there was a really happy person who got a really insanely rare skin, which he then managed to sell for $60,000. So the skin in question was for a sniper rifle called Dragon Lore. Oh, it was a sniper rifle skin called Dragon Lore. By the way, this on itself would have been one of the rarest items in Counter-Strike. Because it drops only in Global Offensive cobblestone packages. And you only get those when you watch some E-League major events. We can obviously sell them. The packages themselves sell for about $30. And other than some skins, these packages contain stickers that have electronic autographs of a few different pro players that can you put on to weapon skins. So this is like rare upon rare, making it epic and legendary weapons. And not only is Dragon Lore itself one of the rarest skins, this one that is purchased for $61,000, more specifically for $61,052.63, had an electronic autograph of Tyler Skadoodle Latham, who's a pro player for esports team Cloud9. This team won the first place this past Monday at the E-League Major Boston, making them the first American team to ever win a Valve sponsor event, and this person himself was awarded MVP for the entire tournament. Initially, the skin has been posted for just $35,000, you know, that's not high, but it ended up selling for $61,000 and a little bit on that. Drone was the seller, he, with an unnamed buyer, agreed on a price that worked out for both parties, and I think Drone was pretty happy with making a year's worth of income for many people in Americas in a single day. By the way, previously the most expensive item sold in 2017 was the I Buy Power sticker, which went for around $4,500. That itself is a pretty huge chunk of money, but is pennies compared to $61,000. Drone actually had an interview with Polygon, and he said, "We agreed on that price since that was the only price I was willing to accept. Otherwise, I would have kept it." He also told Polygon that he initially purchased the skin only for $35,000, and he went to say, "I didn't originally get into the game solely for profit. I just got very lucky a couple of times, and money is more valuable to different people. I am very lucky in my financial state to where I can afford to buy these skin, and it doesn't affect me." They actually also attempted to contact the buyer, but there was no response. So, please don't try to gamble on loot boxes, even though you might be, "Oh, somebody makes $60,000. I'll spend like $2,000. Surely I'm sure to make my money back. No, no you aren't. Most likely you will get nothing. Probably the best thing you can hope is to actually watch those e-league events. Hope to get one of these crates and hope to get lucky. That is probably the best thing you can do, but just trying to randomly spend money to make more money is not really a good option to make money. Yeah, you need money to make money, but not by randomization. You start a business. Start a Steemit blog if you haven't already. It is a great way to actually make a decent chunk of money, but certainly don't try to gamble it away on random loot boxes, as that is one of the dumbest things you can ever fucking do. And our last piece of news for today is about EA, our favorite company in the world. Apparently not. There was a list conducted by the Wall Street, by 24/7 Wall Street, where they tried to make a list of the most hated companies in the world. They compiled a list based on a variety of factors like major events, customer satisfaction surveys, employee reviews, and a couple of more. And since EA has already been named the worst company in America a few times, it wasn't a real surprise that they scored high, but I don't think anybody suspected how freaking high they will actually go. They had ranked on the 5th place on this list, which is insane when there are companies like Monsanto and others, you know, like Comcast, the Trump organization, which actually scored lower even in this political state that you Americans right now have. The reasons why EA ranked 5th are some things like the ongoing Battlefront 2 loot box controversy, the fact that EA is buying small companies and actually making them not exist anymore, and many, many other things, and consumers just hate them. And I'm really happy with that, and I'm hoping this will actually bring their stock a little bit lower so they do rethink their business ethics in the future a bit more. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a like here on YouTube. You know, that thumbs up, as it really helps us. And subscribe to the channel if you are watching this on Steemit. An upvote would be very generous of you. And be sure to follow our blog, as we are your daily source of daily gaming news every single day. Also, be sure to leave a comment, as we are always interested in your opinions. And least of all, be sure to tune in tomorrow, as more gaming news awaits. That's it, so see you guys later with more gaming content.